have a couple of things for you guys at the top. Yesterday we made history. Kristen Clarke was confirmed as the first woman and first woman of color to lead the Civil Rights Division at the Department of Justice. And Shaquita Brooks LaSure became the first Black person to be confirmed as administrator for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Kristen's career was launched in the office that she now leads. She personally prosecuted crimes based on hatred and bigotry, human trafficking, domestic violence, and sexual assault. She has served at two of the nation's oldest civil rights organizations, where she worked on everything from voting rights to equal education and employment. At the Department of Justice, she will continue advancing civil rights progress, including on police reform. Shaquita is a lifelong public servant who has worked at OMB, on Capitol Hill, at HHS, and at CMS, where she helped implement the Affordable Care Act. Shaquita brings a wealth of knowledge to CMS, where she will work to strengthen Medicare and Medicaid, bring down healthcare costs for American families, and advance health equity in communities across the country. The president was proud to nominate Kristen and Shaquita for these positions, thanks the Senate for their bipartisan confirmation, and is honored to have them serve in these key leadership positions. As you all saw yesterday, we announced that next Tuesday, June 1st, the president will travel to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and deliver remarks to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Black Wall Street Massacre. While there, he will meet with surviving members of the community, now between the ages of 101 to 107, and tour the Greenwood Culture Center. We'll have additional details as we get closer to Tuesday. As you all know, President Biden believes affordable, safe housing is the foundation upon which families build their lives. And he knows that stable housing will remain out of reach for tens of millions of Americans, even after COVID-19 pandemic and economic crises come to an end. Across the country, there is 300,000 unit gap in annual housing supply. 11 million families pay more than half their income on rent. 3 million families with children under 6 reside in homes with lead paint, and thousands of working families are displaced every year as a result of extreme weather fueled by climate change. These changes are even more severe in low-income communities and communities of color, which have been segregated, excluded, and neglected for generations. Investing in housing is an essential part of President Biden's strategy to grow strong, healthy communities in every zip code. So today, the administration is releasing 2 new fact sheets highlighting some of the key housing elements of the American Jobs Plan. The president's plan proposes a bold $213 billion investment in America's housing infrastructure through a number of federal programs and proposals with bipartisan support. This investment is paired with expansion of bipartisan tax credits and incentives to lower barriers to affordable housing in more and higher opportunity places across the country. Together, our estimates suggest this will enable the construction and modernization of more than 2 million affordable and sustainable places to live. Along the way, these investments will create and sustain hundreds of thousands of good-paying union jobs and provide employment and economic opportunities for residents of assisted housing. As you may have seen by now, today the president asked the intelligence community to redouble their efforts to collect and analyze information that could bring us closer to a definitive conclusion and to a report back to him in 90 days. Back in early 2020, the president called for the CDC to get access to China to learn about the virus so we could fight it more effectively. Getting to the bottom of the origin of this pandemic will help us understand how to prepare for the next pandemic and the next one. As we have done throughout our COVID response, we have been committed to a whole of government effort to ensure we're doing everything to both understand and end this pandemic and to prevent future pandemics. This is why the president is asking the U.S. intelligence community, in cooperation with other elements of our government, to redouble efforts to collect and analyze information that could bring the world closer to a definitive conclusion on the origin of the virus and deliver a report to him again in 90 days. It will be another whole of government effort, as I mentioned, including work by our national labs and other agencies. Importantly, we will continue to pushing for a stronger multilateral investigation into the origins of the virus in China. And we will continue to press China to participate in a full, transparent, evidence-based international investigation with the needed access to get to the bottom of a virus that's taken more than 3 million lives across the globe. And critically, to share information and lessons that will help us all prevent future pandemics. With that, Zeke, will you take us away?
Thank you, Corinne. First, on that last bit about the calls for China to cooperate with these international investigations, what are the consequences for China if it does not, if it continues its current posture, which has not been to allow for a free and independent investigations into the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, right now, we're just going to focus on the president's announcement on the 90-day investigation, a more deeper investigation to really look at the core of how did we get here, right, with this pandemic, and where the origins clearly of COVID-19. And once we get to that conclusion, we'll have more to share.
So, but in terms of cooperating with the WHO investigations, there's nothing new from the White House in terms of encouraging China or penalties for China if it does not cooperate with investigations going forward?
I'm not going to prejudge or make any pre-announcements at this time. We're going to go with the 90-day investigation and see where it takes us from there.
On that 90-day investigation, is the White House committing to making the results of that investigation public?
We'll have more to share after the 90 days.
And then finally, just on this, the president's statement noted that at least one member of the intelligence community was leaning in the direction of there being a potential for a laboratory accident involved. Which member of the intelligence community was?
I don't have that information to share with you right now. I think the most important thing is that the president has made a decision to make sure that to get to the core, right, to really figure out where did the origin come from, to do this additional 90-day review after asking his team to look into it in March. So he wants to take that next step.
Thank you. Has the president been briefed yet this morning on the shooting in San Jose, California, and any other details you can share with us? Who may have briefed him?
Just give me 1 second. So the White House is monitoring the situation, and our hearts go out to the victims and their families. I know local officials have addressed this publicly, and there is an ongoing investigation, as we all know. We will continue to stay in close contact with them and offer any assistance as needed. We still don't know all of the details, but what's clear, as the president has said, is that we are suffering from an epidemic of gun violence in this country, both in mass shootings and in the lives that are being taken in daily gun violence that doesn't make national headlines. That's why he has already taken an initial set of actions on gun violence that will save lives. And that's why he's calling on Congress to take action, including calling on the Senate to pass the 3 bills to strengthen background checks that have already cleared the House with bipartisan support and which have the overwhelming backing of the American people.
And on infrastructure, I know you're awaiting sort of the Republican counter proposal here. Any update, any more details you may have received on Republicans' next move here?
Look, as we all know, this is negotiations working in this really funny way. We make an offer, they make a counter, and then we counter. So as you all know, we made our offer and our counter, and we're waiting to hear from Republicans, which we're hearing will happen shortly, what their counter will be. This is a process. We understand that this is a town that hasn't seen a whole lot of bipartisanship over the last 4 years to be exact. But this president is committed to trying to end that, which is why you have seen us continue to negotiate in good faith The president's red line in the sand, has been very, very clear. The way that he does not want to see, he does not want this to go, is without any action at all. So inaction is that red line, and he wants to make sure that we don't tax people who make like less than $400,000 a year. So we look forward to seeing what they come back with.
One more on this. Senator Chris Coons, obviously a close ally of the president, someone who generally has a pretty good read on things over here. He has said that he thinks the Senate could pass $1 trillion proposal focused more on traditional infrastructure, splitting off some of the other items that the president has called for, and doing that just with Democratic support. Is $1 trillion something the president can support, and would he back splitting things up like
Well,
this?
look, Mary, we're still going through this negotiation process. We have to see what the Republicans, the senators on the Hill, are going to come back with, and once we have, their counteroffer, we'll know more and what steps to take next.
Okay.